We are now on the record. This is the video deposition of Robert Walczak in the matter of Spring Grove versus Janowski. Today's date is February 22nd, 2024, and the time is 10:03 a.m. Will attorneys please identify themselves?
Megan Mack, I'm an attorney for the Village of Spring Grove.
Nicholas Janowski.
Will the court reporter please swear in the witness?
All right, Mr. Walczak, please raise your right hand. Do solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
All right, counsel, you may begin.
Can I ask one question of you, sir? Are you with Huseby?
Correct.
Sir? You are, and what's your name?
Jeremy.
Okay. And your last name?
Mangan, M-A-N-G-A-N.
Thank you. Sorry, Nick.
Okay. Pursuant to Illinois Supreme Court rules of discovery, a deposition may only last 3 hours.
Correct.
So we're only scheduled to be here till 1 o'clock. So that we're clear. If I do anticipate this will generate new written discovery, and I don't anticipate completing all the questions. So upon completion of secondary written discovery, we'll schedule Mr. Walczak for a second or...
You get 3 hours, and without, you'll have to ask leave of court.
Okay, we'll ask. Can you please state, you've already stated your name, can you please list your current employers and how long you've been employed with each employer?
Village of Spring Grove. It'll be 15 years in August.
Prior to your employment with the Village of Spring Grove as building inspector, have you had any jobs relevant to being a code enforcement officer? If so, can you list them and their relevance?
I worked for a framing contractor with a builder within Spring Grove for 10 years.
What are your current job duties with the Village of Spring Grove?
Building and zoning officer, building inspections, code enforcement, zoning. I do work with Public Works on occasion when help is needed.
And can you tell me what code 720 ILCS 3/32-2 is?
None off the top of my head. I don't have it memorized, but I could certainly look it up in the code book.
And do you know what the punishment for perjury is in the state of Illinois?
I do not.
Are you familiar with what a class 3 felony is?
Yes.
Can you explain that?
No, thank you.
What is the penalty for a class 3 felony?
If you know the answer.
I don't know.
Should a government official who is caught committing perjury be prosecuted, and if not, why?
Objection as to the relevance. You can go ahead and answer if you want.
I don't have an answer.
Can you tell me what code 720 ILCS 5/33-3 is?
Objection as to the relevance. Go ahead if you know.
No answer.
Can you give me the legal definition of public view?
Public view.
I think I'll object to the form of the question in that you're asking for a legal conclusion. He can give you his opinion.
In your opinion, what is the legal definition of public view?
My opinion would be anything from a public right-of-way.
What Illinois state statute or statutes give you authority to regulate what a person may own when that property is not in public view?
Objection is to the form of the question. It's overly broad, and can you break that down?
If something is not in public view, what Illinois state statutes give you authority to regulate a person's ownership of that property?
If you want to go ahead and answer, if you know.
Can you say that again, please, Nick?
If property is not in public view, what Illinois state statute or statutes give you authority to regulate the ownership of said property?
I do not know the statutes.
Okay. What is the name of the police officer who accompanied you when you came onto the property in May of 2021?
Can you give him a specific date?
It was the last week of May, Wednesday. He was only on the property once in May of 2021.
It may have been Officer Passion.
May 26th.
I believe it was Officer Passion.
Can you spell that?
I don't know is the correct spelling of the officer's name. Officer Passion, I believe, is the correct answer, though.
On June 2nd of 2021, what were the names of the individuals who accompanied you onto the property?
What was the date again? I'm sorry.
June 2nd of 2021.
I'd have to reference back into pictures or video.
There are 3 individuals, 1 police officer and 2 members of
Objection, you're testifying, you need to be asking him a question.
Okay. What were the names of the 2 McHenry County Health Department officials who accompanied you onto the property on June 2nd of...
I'm also going to object as to this is prior to the date that the complaint was filed in this case.
I don't remember.
Did you help write the complaint filed with the district court? And if so, what was your role in its construction?
Objection is to relevance, but go ahead and answer.
Just to help list codes and certain things like that.
Who came up with the list of codes violations filed with the district court?
I believe I did. They are really loud out there.
A lot of background noise.
Wow.
Did you review the complaint filed by the Village of Spring Grove with the district court before it was filed?
The district court is in you? With the attorney?
Can you clarify what you mean by the district court? I think that's his confusion.
Where we're currently adjudicating the complaint you filed? The village filed?
I reviewed with the attorney.
Did you have any concerns with the code violations listed in the complaint?
Concerns, no.
On the date of the filing of the complaint with the court, were all the code violations listed in the complaint valid?
I believe they were, yes.
Are the photos included in the filing accurate of the condition of the property on the date of the filing?
Are you referring to the filing of the complaint?
Yes.
I just want to make the record clear.
Pardon?
I just want to make sure the record is clear.
Okay.
I believe they are, yes.
On what date did you reinspect the property 9033 Wynn Road in February of 2022?
I do not remember the exact date.
General, ballpark, best guess?
Asked and answered. He doesn't recall.
Did you generate an inspection report and photos of the property from your inspection conducted in February of 2022?
I believe photos were taken on every inspection.
I'm just asking about February of 2022.
I believe there are.
And an inspection report was generated too?
Maybe a list of an.
Were the inspection report and photos of the inspection included in the complaint filed with the court in April of 2022?
If you know.
I don't recall.
They were not.
Okay.
Okay, again, you're testifying. You need to ask a question.
Who had final say on which documents were filed as exhibits in the complaint filed with the court?
You can answer.
I believe it was a joint effort,
Between
the village and the attorneys.
who in the village?
Myself and the attorney,
Well, what's the attorney's name?
Megan Mack.
And you were the only representative of the village involved in constructing the complaint?
In the staff level, yes.
And above the staff level?
A village attorney,
And who's the village attorney?
Megan Mack.
In your opinion, why were the inspection report and photos from your inspection of February 22 not included in the complaint filed with the district court?
I do not know.
Who would have made the decision not to include that report and photos in the complaint?
I'll object as to relevance, but you can answer.
It just may have been missed. I'm not sure.
Is the reason you chose not to include the report and photos from the inspection done in February 2022 because it would have been detrimental to proving your case?
Objection, asked and answered. You already asked him why the February.
I asked him why in general it wasn't included. Now I'm asking him if it would be detrimental to the case.
Same objection. But go ahead.
I don't believe so.
On February 2nd of 2022, you signed did you sign an affidavit?
Yes.
And that affidavit was included in the complaint filed with the court, correct?
Correct.
Section 3 of the affidavit lists various violations. Who came up with the list of violations in the affidavit?
I believe it was myself and Attorney Mack.
Are any of the violations listed in Section 3 of the affidavit false?
Not that I recall.
Can you describe the construction of an earth shelter home from start to finish, including all points of inspection, what is looked for at each point of inspection, stress tolerance for concrete, drainage, plumbing, electrical, etc.?
Objection is to the form of the question. It's compound. Also, objection is to the relevance. If you want to try and break down the question a little bit, maybe he can actually give you an answer.
Can you describe the construction of an earth shelter home?
Same objection is to relevance. But go ahead.
Typically, they're made of a concrete structure, if you will, that is under earth. Your typical construction is not a wood frame construction.
During the construction process of an earth shelter home, at what points do you conduct inspections?
There'd be several footings and structural inspections.
Can you go into detail on that?
As far as what?
At the excavation point, what you're looking for as far as drain tile,
Sure.
depth of gravel, etc.
Sure. Typically, it starts with a survey. The house is platted on a piece of land, right? Septic plan is reviewed. Footing, anything pre-pour of concrete, any gravel base is inspected. Any pre-pour of concrete is necessary. Walls, floors, footings, etc.
And as far as how is the actual structure built?
With rebar and that kind of thing? Or,
I mean, how is the house assembled?
construction methods?
Yes.
So typically it's either a preformed, precast concrete structure or it's poured in place with forms on site.
And what inspections do you conduct it?
Anything.
For a project that is being poured on site?
So anything, you look at the forms prior to concrete, before any concrete shows up. Looking at rebar structure.
And after the concrete is poured?
Typically a backfill, make sure everything's no cracking, weatherproofing.
In your own words, where is the septic field for 9033 Wynn Road located? Give me the approximate distances from the north, south, and east lot lines, if it's in the front side of the house, rear of the house, or wherever.
I believe it is in the rear of the house. Distances, I couldn't give you a number.
And how is the septic tank marked on the property?
I do not recall.
And where is the septic tank located on the property? Is it in the front, on the side, in the rear?
I do not recall.
Is the lid to the septic tank concrete or cast iron?
I do not know.
What experience or training do you have inspecting a septic system?
Just general knowledge. The McHenry County Health Department approves and inspects septics and wells for the village of Spring Grove and through McHenry County.
How did you come to the conclusion that the septic system to 9033 Wynn Road had failed?
Not failed, but maintained would be my word.
Explain what do you mean by maintained?
The overall condition of the property in general shows evidence that nothing was maintained.
How do you maintain a septic field?
I don't know. I don't know.
How do you maintain a septic tank?
By cleaning it, pumping it.
If you don't know how a septic field is maintained, then how can you allege that it's not been maintained?
Okay.
I'm asking you.
I don't know.
You testified
Sure.
that you don't know how to maintain a septic field. You also testified that the septic field has not been maintained. So please explain that.
I have no explanation.
If you have no evidence that the septic system to 9033 Wynn Road has failed, then why is it included as a list of violations with the court?
I would say it was evidences the property condition.
Specifically, I'm asking you, not about the property condition.
Sure.
I'm asking you about the septic system and the village, the code. So if you have no evidence that the septic system has failed, why have you submitted it to the court as a violation?
I do not know.
Whose decision was it to include the failure of the septic as a violation in the court filing?
Village and village attorneys,
Who from the village?
myself.
Anyone else from the village?
Not that I recall.
Did you inform anyone that you have no evidence that the septic system has failed?
Objection, you're assuming facts not in evidence, but you can answer.
Not that I recall.
Can you tell me where the nearest public water main is in relation to 9033 Wynn Road?
Currently, it is at Main Street and Wynn Road, little south of there, towards the bridge.
North of the bridge or south of the bridge?
South of the bridge.
How far south of the bridge?
100 feet?
How far would that be from 9033 Wynn Road, ballpark?
Maybe a mile?
Would 1.3 miles be an accurate measurement of the distance from 9033 Wynn Road to the end of the village water main?
You say 1.3?
Three.
3? Yeah, it's probably, yeah.
Okay. In October of 2023, you were on the property conducting an inspection. Did you not tell me that the nearest public water main was less than 1,000 feet from 9033 Wynn Road?
Obviously, my
Objection is to foundation. Go ahead.
my distance was definitely off.
As a building inspector, you can't tell the difference between 1,000 feet and this would be 1.3, approximately 8,000 feet.
Maybe I was thinking of something different. Like I said, today I even said it was about a mile.
How many residential homes are on Wynn Road or on that public water main?
Residential homes on Wynn Road, 0.
Who exactly is on that water main?
Typically industrial, commercial businesses, properties throughout town, Route 12 corridor.
Just on the water main on Wynn Road.
On Wynn Road, Scott Forge, car wash, everything going south.
Where is Thielen Park?
Objection is to relevance. Go ahead and answer.
Thielen Park is on top of the hill on Main, Wynn Road, just north of Main Street.
And who owns Thielen Park?
Village of Spring Grove.
Is there a public restroom in Thielen Park?
They're closed.
Is that public restroom hooked up to the Village of Spring Grove water main?
No,
Objection is to relevance. Go ahead.
they are not.
Why not?
Again, objection to relevance. Go ahead and answer if you know.
The water's not that far north.
How many structures are there on Wynn Road, in between 9033 Wynn Road and the public water main in front of Scott Forge?
There's several.
Would 36 be an accurate count?
Yeah, I would, yeah.
How many citations or court actions have you taken against the 36, how many citations have you issued to the property owners of the 36 structures on Wynn Road for not being hooked up to the public water system?
Objection is to relevance.
We're in court because that's part of your filing.
The judge can rule on my objection.
Okay.
You don't need to answer.
So you're choosing not to answer it?
Oh, it's 0,
Why not?
because there's no water there.
So what's the difference between them and me?
Objection is to the relevance. What's the relevancy of the village's actions as to other property owners?
The village has issued specifically that I am in violation of municipal code not being hooked up to a public water system. It's listed in his reports.
How is
Why
it,
is
and how
why
is it relevant then?
I'm over a mile away from the water main, and there are 36 structures in between us, and not a single one of them has been issued a citation or a court action.
I'm still objecting as to the relevance, and the judge can rule on it.
Okay.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Why have you not issued citations or court actions against any of the 36 structures on Wynn Road between 9033 Wynn Road?
I do not know.
Oh, and what's the difference between them and me?
No difference, essentially.
So if there's no public water main on Wynn Road, then why is it listed as a violation in the complaint submitted to the court and in your inspection reports?
I do not know.
Whose decision was it to include that violation in the complaint?
Myself and the village attorney.
So it was your decision to include this violation in the court filing.
Objection is to foundation. I don't know what this violation means. Also, objection is you asked and answered a similar question.
Just so I have this straight. It was your decision to file the violation that 9033 Wind Road was not hooked up to a public water main that does not exist, but you cannot explain why you included this violation in the court filing.
Again, objection asked and answered.
He didn't, I never asked and answered that.
It's my objection. You can answer if you want, though. We'll have the judge rule.
Correct.
You previously testified during this deposition that you reviewed the violations filed with the court and found them all to be valid. And now you admit that this alleged violation is not valid.
Objection to the form of the question. Do you even understand the question?
No, it's kind of two-sided.
It's a compound question.
Today you have testified that you did review all of the violations filed with the complaint, and as of the filing date, they were all valid. Is that correct?
I believe so.
And this violation that 9033 Wind Road is not hooked up to a public water main is not valid.
You can answer.
I believe so.
Can you tell me what code 504.1 is?
Can I reference my code book? .4 what?
1.
1. That's unsafe conditions of the exterior structure.
504.1?
Oh, I'm sorry, I went 304. 504.1, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Plumbing systems and fixtures shall be maintained in a safe and sanitary functional condition.
From your February 22 inspection, please list all plumbing fixtures which were not properly installed and maintained in working order and how you determined such.
Maintained is the key word. Evidence with the pictures would show that.
From your February 2022 inspection, you did not include any photos from the February 22 inspection in your complaint. I'm not talking about the January inspection. I'm talking about the February 22 inspection.
Understood.
So, focusing on the February 2022 inspection, list all plumbing fixtures which were not properly installed and maintained in working order, and how you determined during your inspection in February of 2022 such.
I don't have any answers to those to that question.
can't answer because you don't remember, or there were no violations, or for what reason? Can you not answer?
Honestly, I don't remember. I've been on the property several times in that specific date.
From any inspection conducted between February 2022 and your last inspection, list all plumbing fixtures which are not properly installed and maintained in working order.
I would strongly that majority of the fixtures are not maintained in proper sanitary condition.
Define maintained.
Clean. And you pointed out in the one inspection that the kitchen sink, main kitchen sink, held water and drained. That was it.
Okay, so what is wrong with any of the 3 bathtubs?
I'm not sure. The condition of the property, I did not want to touch any of the valves.
What's wrong with any of the 3 toilets?
Again, I was not going to verify and flush the toilet because of the condition of the property.
So you actually have no evidence that any of the
Besides
plumbing
village,
fixture, you did not touch any of the fixtures, so you actually have no evidence that they are inoperable or not working.
they may be operable and may be working, but the visual evidence is not maintained or sanitary.
Can you tell me what code 505.1 is?
That is the water system.
Specifically, what about the water system?
Sinks, lavatories, laundry facilities.
That they're not hooked up to an approved water system.
Either a public water system or approved private.
Okay, what evidence do you have that any plumbing fixture on the property is not hooked up to an approved water system?
This visual evidence is those items were maybe not used in a long time.
I'm asking you what evidence you have that any fixture, plumbing fixture, is not hooked up, connected to an approved water system.
And you already asked that, and he already answered.
No, he didn't.
It's an objection. We'll let the judge rule. If you want to go ahead and answer, go ahead.
I'm okay.
How many fuse boxes are there in the residence?
I believe 2.
Calling the fuse box on the left number 1 and the fuse box on the right number 2. Tell me by fuse box, by fuse number, the circuit that you allege is overloaded and how you determined it was overloaded.
I don't recall. Several receptacles are on certain circuits. That seems to be overloaded.
How did you
Like-
determine it was overloaded?
Like where all the outdoor freezers are located.
And how did you determine it was overloaded?
Just visual.
But in the panel itself, so inside the fuse box panel, using the panel on the left as panel number 1, and the panel on the right as panel number 2.
In the laundry room area?
Yes. Which circuits are overloaded?
I do not know.
Going by each room, tell me by room which outlets are overloaded, the draw on each outlet that is overloaded in amperage, and how you determine that said outlet was overloaded.
I don't have that info.
If you don't have that information, then why is that listed as a violation in the complaint filed at the court?
Just a visual inspection would have determined that, in my opinion.
So, in the foyer, which outlets are overloaded?
I don't know. Where are you considering the foyer, I guess?
The extreme room on the
South, maybe?
south side.
Where the main door is?
Yes.
I don't recall.
In the living room, the next room over,
Okay.
which outlets are overloaded? What was the draw on each outlet you tested, and how did you determine that that outlet was overloaded?
I don't have that electrical info.
In the, what we're calling an apartment, the room to the west, where the secondary kitchen
Okay.
and in that living room, which outlets are overloaded, and what was the draw on each outlet in amperage that you said was overloaded?
I don't have that info.
In the kitchenette, in the apartment area, which outlets are overloaded, and what was the draw on the outlets, and how did you determine that those outlets were overloaded?
I don't have those numbers.
In the bedroom in the apartment, which outlets are overloaded, and what was the draw on those outlets?
I don't have that info, Nick.
In the bathroom in the apartment, which outlets are overloaded, and what was the draw?
I don't have that info without pictures or something in front of me.
I'm not asking for what I'm asking for technical data. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
what was the draw? What was the amperage?
Correct. I don't
How
have any.
Okay. In the utility room in the apartment, which outlets were overloaded?
I don't know.
Moving back to the main room, the main house. In the room with the skylight, which outlets were overloaded, and how did you determine that those outlets were overloaded?
I don't have info.
In the storage unit, which would be the next room to the north,
Okay.
which outlets in that room were overloaded, and what was the draw on those outlets that were overloaded?
I don't know the draw or anything.
Okay. In the main dining room, which outlets were overloaded, and how did you determine that those outlets were overloaded?
Same answer. Don't have the info.
In the main kitchen, which outlets did you test for being overloaded, and how did you determine they were overloaded?
I don't have that info.
In the master bedroom, what outlets were overloaded?
I don't remember.
In the master bathroom, what outlets did you test, and how did you determine that they were overloaded?
None.
In the 2 bedrooms on the south side of the structure,
Sure.
which outlets did you test for being overloaded, and how did you determine they were overloaded?
I couldn't even get in those rooms.
In the other bathroom, by those rooms, by those bedrooms, which outlets did you test for being overloaded, and how did you come to the conclusion that they were overloaded?
I did not.
And in the utility room, which outlets did you test for being overloaded, and how did you determine they were overloaded?
I did not.
How many water heaters are there in the residence?
One for sure. I don't know if there's another one in that back apartment. I don't recall.
Are the water heaters functional or non-functioning?
They may function, but they're not maintained.
The complaint filed with the court states that the water heaters are non-operational. How did you determine that the water heaters don't work?
I did not.
Did you test the hot water heaters? And if so, what was the temperature that the hot water was at?
I did not. Just visually maintained was the issue.
If you have no evidence that the hot water heater is non-operational, then why is it included as a violation in the filing with the circuit court?
Visual evidence showed that they weren't maintained.
What do you mean by that?
Proper venting, things of that nature.
How do you vent an electric water heater?
Per manufacturer's specifications.
In what way is the electric water heater in the apartment not properly vented?
I don't recall.
Is the water heater in the main house gas or electric?
I don't recall off the top of my head.
How is that hot water heater not properly vented?
I believe there was tape on the vents or whatnot. I don't recall without pictures.
If you can't recall, well, besides being not properly vented, then what is another reason why you say that the hot water heaters are in violation?
Can you rephrase? I'm sorry.
You can't recall how the hot water heaters are not properly vented.
Mm-hmm.
Besides not proper venting, what is another reason why they would not be in compliance?
Maintain in sanitary conditions.
And what do you mean by maintained?
There was extremely large amounts of dust and debris and whatnot around those. The one in the main utility room, I would say, for sure.
And that's present at all of your inspections, February 2022 through November of 20, or December of 2023?
I believe so.
On your inspection in February 2022, had new smoke detectors been installed?
I don't recall. I know there was some installed in this last inspection.
But you don't know if your inspection in February 22, there were working smoke detectors.
Objection asked and answered. You can go ahead.
I don't recall in that inspection if they were there or not.
Isn't that something you should have inspected?
Yes. I just don't recall.
Have you seen the body camera footage from the, and photos from the inspection done on February of 2022?
I believe so. I've seen a lot of pictures and
And you didn't take any photos of the smoke detectors?
I don't recall.
Does your report from February of 2022 mention smoke detectors?
I don't know.
Whose decision was it to include in the complaint filed in April of 2022 that there were no working smoke detectors?
Probably myself and the village attorney.
Can you tell me what code 504.2 is?
What was the number? I'm sorry?
504.2.
Fixture clearances and plumbing systems?
Which plumbing fixtures in the residence do not have adequate clearance for usage and cleaning?
For one, the water heater, the main utility room.
In what way is the water heater in the utility room, in what way does it not have adequate clearance for usage and cleaning?
It may have clearance, but it definitely is not cleaned.
That's not what this code says.
Okay.
This code says that a fixture does
Is there a question?
not... Yes, we're getting there. This code states that a plumbing fixture must have adequate clearance for usage and cleaning. It does not say that the fixture has to be cleaned and used. Which fixtures in the residence do not have adequate clearance for usage and cleaning? Not that whether or not they're cleaned, not whether or not they're used, but that they are not in compliance with the clearance code.
Sure. I would say majority of them on our inspections that have not been, all the stuff and junk that's piled around them doesn't provide adequate spacing.
Okay,
Clearances for uses.
Specifically, in the bathroom, in the apartment,
Okay.
what is in the bathtub that is in violation of this code?
I don't recall what's in the bathtub.
There's nothing in the bathtub, so if there's nothing in the bathtub,
Okay.
how can the bathtub not be in compliance with this code? I'm asking you a question. If a bathtub is empty, how can the bathtub not be in compliance with this code?
I don't know.
Okay. There are 2 sinks in the apartment bathroom, correct?
Yes, two on the, just in the bathroom?
Just in the apartment bathroom, there are 2 sinks.
Okay.
How are those 2 sinks not in compliance with the clearance portion of this code?
I don't know.
How is the toilet not in the apartment bathroom, not in compliance with the clearance portion of this code?
I don't know.
Okay. Moving on to the bathroom by the,
In the hallway?
yes. There's a bathtub in there. How is that bathtub not in compliance with this code?
That bathroom specifically has extreme amount of debris that would prohibit the clearance, adequate clearance for cleaning, maintaining, usage.
In what way? Like, what is in that bathroom that is blocking the bathtub?
Can you clarify what bathroom you're talking about?
The bathroom by the 2 bedrooms on the south side of the residence.
Thank you.
Like clarify debris?
What debris is in blocking that bathtub?
I don't know how somebody used that bathroom, to be honest with you, with all the debris up in there.
Okay, what debris is in there?
Random junk, litter boxes, just
Okay, there's a
garbage.
litter box. Where's the litter box located?
I think directly next to the toilet.
Okay, and is that where should the litter box in a home be located if not next to a bathroom? If a person with a cat keeps their litter box in the bathroom, and is that a violation of clearance codes?
Objection is to the relevance of the beginning of your question as to what the
How is-
appropriate place to store a litter box is.
He says that your client is testifying that the bathroom is inaccessible because there's a litter box in the corner next to the toilet.
That was just one example of what's in the bathroom. You
Okay, well, what you brought that one up as your
Sure.
first one, so I'm asking you
Sure.
how a litter box located in the corner next to a toilet is prohibiting use of the bathroom in general.
It may not hinder the use per se, but it's all the other stuff. I just use that as an
Okay, well,
example.
what other stuff?
All the debris and garbage. I don't
What-
know.
what-
There's
what in-
feces in there.
Where is there feces?
There was feces all over the bathroom.
In February of 2022, when you inspected the bathroom, in October of 2022, when you inspected the bathroom, in December of 2023, when you inspected the bathroom, there is feces all over that bathroom.
I'd have to review pictures. I don't recall. If
You
it was
don't
cleaned
recall
up.
now?
Right.
Okay.
If I may, I can only take down one person
Sure.
talking at a time, so please try to avoid
Sorry.
speaking
Sure,
over each other.
sure.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Well, given that you now don't recall, what else is blocking the use of that bathroom then?
Specifically, I just don't remember. I'd have to look at pictures to just point out items.
So you can't, besides the litter box, you can't list what is blocking the bathtub clearance-wise.
Just random things.
Random things that you can't put a definition to, like,
Clothes, there's all kinds of just debris, in my opinion. Debris.
so when you went in there
Trash.
in February of 2022, October of 2022, December of 2023, there's debris and trash blocking the use of that bathroom.
Maybe not as much. It may have been cleaned up a little.
You don't know? You were there, you did the
Correct.
inspection.
Correct.
So you can't tell me whether or not there's debris blocking the use of that bathroom.
Objection, you're miscategorizing his testimony and alleging facts that are not in evidence.
Okay. Moving to the kitchen sink.
Okay.
What is physically blocking the clearance for usage of the kitchen sink?
In the original inspections, it was all the debris and.
I'm not talking about the original inspection, I'm talking about your inspection on February of 2022.
Please don't talk over him. The court reporter can only take down one person talking. If you let him finish, then you can ask another question.
I don't recall the February inspection, what was in the way or.
In your February inspection of 2022, what was blocking use of the bathtub in the master bathroom?
It's the bathroom all the way to the north?
Correct.
I don't recall.
In your inspection, February 2022, what was blocking use of the shower stall in the master bathroom?
I don't recall, Nick.
In your inspection, February 2022, what was blocking use of the two sinks in the master bathroom?
I don't recall.
In your inspection, February 2022, what was blocking use of the toilet in the master bathroom?
I don't recall. I think.
In your inspection, February 2022, what was blocking use of the utility sink in the utility room?
Is that the main utility sink when you come in?
Yes.
Like the door became in?
What blocked you from walking up to that sink?
Nothing per se. There was still garbage in that, I believe, in that area.
What blocked you from walking up to that sink?
Walking up to it or walking over something to it?
You physically, the door opened, you walked into the room. Correct?
Correct.
Immediately to your right
Yep.
is the utility sink. Immediately to your left is the boiler.
Yep.
What prevents you from turning to your right to the utility sink?
I guess nothing.
Given your lack of recollection, what evidence do you have that you can testify to the court that on February 22, when you conducted your inspection, the plumbing fixtures in the residence did not have adequate clearance?
Given that date, I don't recall.
What is code 506.2?
That's the maintenance of the sanitary drainage system. And specifically, every plumbing stack, vent, waste, and sewer line shall function properly and be kept free from obstructions, leaks, and defects.
From your inspection conducted on February of 2022, which plumbing stack was in violation?
I don't recall.
From your inspection in February of 2022, which plumbing vent was in violation?
I don't recall, Nick.
From your inspection in February of 2022, which waste and sewer line did not function properly?
I don't recall.
If you can't recall, then how can you testify in court as to the violation?
I don't have my notes in front of me for that inspection. I'd love to reference it.
What is code 603.3?
603.3, clearances of mechanical equipment.
Can you read that to me?
603.3 is clearances. Required clearances to combustible materials shall be maintained.
Okay. From your inspection on February of 2022, what combustible materials were not maintained in the required clearances?
I believe it was referencing fireplace in the main room.
What combustible materials? I'm asking you specifically, what combustible materials? So, is there a gas can in the house? Is there a kerosene container in the house? Are there oxygen tanks? I mean, what combustible material
Objection that you've already asked and this question's
Well-
already been answered, but
He said something about fireplaces. He didn't say what combustible materials. I'm specifically asking you to list to me the combustible materials that in your inspection on February 22 were not maintained with the required clearances.
same objection, asked and answered.
He didn't answer it. He said something vague about fireplaces. We're not asking him about fireplaces.
The judge will rule on the objection. He's going to answer you anyway. I'm
Okay.
just noting it for the record. Go ahead.
I believe I was referencing the fireplace in the middle of the rooms there.
What about the fireplaces?
I don't recall itemized things from that inspection date, but obviously wrote it down.
How are the fireplaces in violation of combustible material storage?
I think I was referring to the garbage and litter and debris that was around the fireplaces.
On your inspection of February 2022, what garbage was stored around the fireplace?
I don't recall.
What material was stored around the fireplace?
Like I said, I thought there was debris and whatnot around the fireplace areas.
You think or you know?
I believe, yeah.
What is code 603.4?
Safety control. Safety controls for fuel burning equipment shall be maintained in effective operation.
From your inspection in February of 2022, what safety controls for fuel burning equipment were not in effective operation?
I believe I was referring to like the water heater area. Covers may have been missing.
May have been missing or was missing?
I don't recall for sure.
You don't know.
Right.
Is that the only violation then?
I don't recall from that date.
And you don't know if the cover was or was not missing?
100%. I don't recall for sure.
What is code 604.1?
$604.2
604.1.
or for one. Electrical facilities. Every occupied building shall be provided with an electrical system in compliance with the requirements of this section and section 605.
By room. Well, let's start with this. By room, list all components of the electrical system of 9033 Wynn Road which have inadequate service.
I don't recall service sizes.
Which rooms in the residence of 9033 Wynn Road do not have adequate service?
None that I believe. I think they're all maybe adequate.
Which rooms in 9033 Wynn Road have improper fusing?
Are you referring to the same code section?
It's just the general electrical
Okay.
facilities.
Gotcha.
Which rooms in 9033 Wynn Road have improper fusing?
I can't recall if there's any.
Which rooms in 9033 Wynn Road have insufficient receptacles or lighting outlets?
Improper is probably,
The insufficient
Insufficient.
receptacles or lighting outlets. I'm going through the codes here.
okay.
So by room,
None that I could think of.
okay. By room, which rooms in 9033 Wynn Road have improper wiring or installation of electrical components? And if so, what electrical component in that room?
I don't recall.
What is code 604.3.11?
That is electrical equipment.
Specifically, tell me what the actual code says from start to finish.
Electrical distribution equipment, motor circuits, power equipment, transformers, wire cable, flexible cords, wiring devices, ground fault circuit interrupters, surge protectors, molded case circuit breakers, low voltage fuses, luminaires, ballast motors, and electronic control, signaling and communication equipment that have been exposed to water shall be replaced in accordance with the provisions of the International Building Code.
By room, list all electrical components of 9033 Wynn Road which have been exposed to water.
I believe there's 2 duplex boxes on the outside by the service door that are improperly covered. They should have weather-tight covers, so they are exposed.
Do you believe they have what? That by the service, by the utility door,
That door, yeah.
those utility covers don't have the little flip-floppy.
I don't think they do. I'm going off memory here.
Do you have photo evidence to prove that?
I may have in the file, I'm sure.
No, they do.
Perfect.
Except, besides those 2 alleged outlets,
Is that a question?
I'm working on it. What other electrical components of 9033 Wynn Road have been exposed to water and need to be replaced?
Well, there's, I guess, several locations that could be susceptible to water. There might be water damage in the house.
I'm asking you specifically what has been exposed to water, not what you think may have been exposed to water. What
I do not know.
potential. What is code 605.1?
6051, installation of electrical equipment, wiring and appliances shall be properly installed and maintained in a safe and approved manner.
What electrical equipment in 9033 Wynn Road is not properly installed and maintained?
I believe there is several locations of cover plates missing and receptacles, and
How many cover plates are missing?
I don't recall a number.
Okay, besides a cover plate missing, what other code violation is there?
Nothing in that specific code section.
What is code 605.3?
Luminaires, every public hall, interior stairway, toilet room, kitchen, bathroom, laundry room, boiler room, and furnace room shall contain not less than one electric luminaire. Goes on for pools and spas, but
What's the definition of one lumen?
Can you repeat the question? I didn't understand.
What is the definition of one electric luminaire?
well, it should be a working lighting device.
Luminaire is a measure of light. I'm asking you for what that definition of that measure of light is.
Well, they don't define it in the book, I'm sorry.
Okay. Expresses a function of watts.
Okay,
What is one luminaire in watts?
I don't know.
For each room in 9033 Wynn Road, what is the measured luminaire for each room?
I don't know.
During any of your inspections, did you measure the lumen air count in any
I did
of the
not. I
rooms?
did not have a light meter.
If you did not have a light meter and you did not measure the lumens in any room, you don't know what the definition of a lumen is, and you can't tell me what the measurement of a lumen is in watts, why is this code violation included with the court?
It was just a visual inspection of how dim certain areas were throughout the house.
Are you aware that one lumen translated into watts is 0.06 watts?
Okay.
Objects to relevance.
He's a building inspector. He should know these things. How bright is 0.06 watts?
Again, objection is to relevance. Go ahead and answer.
Repeat the question.
How bright, comparatively speaking? So 0.06 watts. You're a building inspector, you deal with electricity, light bulbs, etc. How bright is 0.06 watts?
I don't know.
How bright is 60 watts?
It's an average light bulb.
It's the average light bulb.
Yeah.
So comparatively speaking, if your average light bulb is 60 watts and one lumen is 0.06 watts, how bright is that?
I don't know.
Do you have any evidence to support this citation that there are rooms in the house, in the residence at 9033 Wynn Road that have less than one lumen?
No, not without a light meter.
Why Since you don't have does the village not have a light meter? Do you just not bring it with you? What was?
Actually, I didn't have it in the truck with me. It is in my desk, sure.
And you've been to the property
Several times.
and at no point in time have you brought your light meter with you?
No,
Why not?
I don't know.
Given the fact that you've submitted you sworn under oath in your affidavit, I believe that, did you or did you not swear under oath in your affidavit that the property is in violation of code 605.3?
I believe it is listed in there, yes.
And this violation is also included in your complaint filed with the with the court.
I believe it is.
And at no point in time did you feel that it would be important for you to bring your light meter with you to the property and actually document the lumens in each room?
Yeah, I just did a visual inspection, correct.
So based off of just a visual inspection, not anything scientific, you decided that this was a valid citation?
Correct.
Can you tell me what code 701.1 is?
.1?
Yes.
That is general under the fire safety requirements.
Can you read the?
Yep. The provisions of this chapter shall govern the minimum conditions and standards for the fire safety relating to structures and exterior premises, including fire safety facilities and equipment to be provided.
In your own words, explain how the residents at 9033 Wynn Road is in violation of this specific language.
Well, this is just a general and a scope of the entire code section.
I understand that, but I'm asking you to explain specifically. This is the statute you have referenced in your affidavit. This is the statute you have referenced in the complaint filed with the court. Give the specific evidence you have as to how the property 9033 Wynn Road is in violation.
Nothing specific, but I believe you did not meet the minimum conditions.
There, what minimum conditions? That doesn't, the statute says, the provisions of this chapter shall govern the minimum conditions and standards for fire safety relating to structures and exterior premises, including fire safety facilities and equipment to be provided. I'm asking, this doesn't list minimum conditions. It says the provisions of this chapter shall govern the minimum conditions. How is 9033 Wynn Road in violation of the provisions of this chapter shall govern?
I don't have any specifics in that code section under scope.
Now, whose decision was it to include this in the affidavit that you signed?
Myself and the village attorneys.
And whose decision was it to include this violation in the court filing?
The same.
Would this be an appropriate time to take a break? We've been going over an hour and a half.
I was going to actually suggest the same.
Off the record, 11:39 a.m.
I'm going to run to the bathroom.